I'm going to ask us to remember some things that we practiced last week. And what I would like to do is say a short sentence, and then everyone practice one full breath in and out, a second full breath in and out. It's the practice of pause. So, my name is Carol Grafford. 2 breaths. My Dharma name, my Buddhist name, is True Transmission of Vows. 2 breaths. My topic today was going to be joy, but it isn't. 2 breaths. My topic today is going to be anger. Especially important today. I have a few stories to share with you. One of them is told by Venerable Mahindasiri Thiro in the latest issue of Tricycle magazine, the Buddhist Review. It goes like this. One day, a man came to the Buddha, and he started yelling, insulting, and cursing the Buddha. Do you know how the Buddha faced that situation? He was smiling. He didn't have any reaction throughout the conversation. He put a positive smile on his face, looking at the person who was yelling at him very kindly. Now, after some time, the man stopped yelling. Everything that he had packed down inside him was out. He was finished. Then Buddha asked him a wonderful question. It did not quite suit the situation. It was out of the blue. The Buddha asked, "Do you get visitors to your home?" The man was astonished. Taken aback, he replied, "Yes, I get many visitors to my home." The Buddha kindly asked him, "Do you treat them with food and drink?" The man replied, "Yes, I do treat them." Then the Buddha said, "What if they do not accept what you have given them? What if they do not accept your food and drink?" Then the man laughed at the Buddha and said, "If they do not accept my treats, then the treats belong to me, and I will eat and drink them." With a great and wonderful smile on his face, the Buddha said, "The same goes with this situation. You treated me with rude and harsh words. You treated me with anger, but I do not accept what you have tried to give me. I will never accept those rude and harsh words that you treated me with. So, since I do not accept anything that you have given, then everything that you have tried to give me belongs to you. You must eat it yourself." The man was amazed, but his anger cooled down. So, I read in the paper on Thursday about a meeting here in this space on Tuesday night with more than 150 Houghton area residents. Most of those present were angry. So I don't know if I believe in karmic imprints being left in a space or a building, but maybe I do. And maybe that's why I switched my topic today, to counteract a whole lot of anger. My teaching with Thich Nhat Hanh goes back over 20 years. He was the face, the voice that was heard in the 60s and the 70s, speaking out against the Vietnam War without anger. I have taken vows to try to repair injustice without taking sides in a conflict. Twice a week, I recite this commitment that I've made back in 2002. When anger is manifesting in me, I am determined not to speak. I will practice mindful breathing and walking in order to recognize and to look deeply into my anger. I will speak and listen in a way that can help myself and the other person to transform suffering and see the way out of difficult situations. So I recognize a lot of things. I recognize that the Unitarian Universalists give me freedom to state my own opinions when I'm here, and that not everyone may agree with my opinions. I recognize that. I recognize that I have been training now in over 20 years in a way that is not the way of our dominant culture. And yet, I think it's such a useful way. I think the vision of peace on earth is a beautiful vision worth moving towards. I don't know that it's ever going to happen, because where there are two or more humans, there will be conflict. And from the smallest of conflicts, eventually grows war. But I still think it's worth moving towards. And where we move from, my belief is each person, one at a time. And when I read 150 people, most of them unhappy, most of them angry, it says, my heart just went right to the floor. Right to the floor. So I come here and I try to offer practices that move us towards peace on earth, starting with peace right inside ourselves. So some weeks ago, Karen gave a lovely talk on finding and fostering trust. And last week, I picked up that and I offered 4 or 5 meditations, breathing, pausing, finding a resource that's beneficial, supportive, soothing, cultivating the affirmative, the life-affirming things, cultivating that. And when there is something afflictive, such as anger, we hold the baby. We take care of it. And that was about fostering trust. And I was going to talk about joy today, and I was going to sneak in that, well, those same things are what fosters joy and happiness too. Because I have found in my life that that is true. And I suppose I'll sneak it into this one, because fostering those things means that we are able to care for and not foster anger, hatred, greed, other afflictive states of mind. So I asked the children, and it was kind of a fail, I have to say, and I think it was holding hands that did it, but it was very sweet to hold hands. At least I could imagine, and maybe you could. What is it like when you are angry? How is your body? How does it move? If you're walking when you're angry, I heard someone stomping their feet back here. Yeah, and what I find is I get tense and I pull in. I pull in when I'm angry. And I do get angry. And how does it feel when we're happy or joyful? I stand up. And my rehearsal in my head, I was going to skip with the children. I don't think you can skip when you're holding hands in a circle. Yeah. But that's the sensation that I have. If I'm moving forward and I'm happy, I'm going a little faster in that way, and it's more up. And calm, boy, some of them really knew calm. They could walk calmly. Just familiarizing ourselves with what our body is doing when our mental states go in these different directions, because the body and mind are tied together, which is part of why anger and violence go together, because body and mind are tied together, not separate. So in this moment, I would invite you to find something that you find soothing and grounding. It can be something you see in this room, something you hear, a sensation in the body, possibly breath going in and out, possibly gravity pulling you downward. Maybe it's a memory you have. This soothing, grounding resource is a tool for you. You can use it anytime. And the trick is, we need to practice. We need to practice when we're not angry, when we're not feeling hurt, when we're not out of control. We need to practice it so that we can pull it up when we're in a room with 150 angry people. Maybe you can practice remembering something joyful that happened in the last week. Go ahead. What was it? Something great joy or something tiny joy? This is a resource. I had a big argument with my husband a week ago or so. It really hurt. It really hurt. And then I practiced. I'm still practicing. Breathing, the 2 breaths, doing the 2 breaths all day long, off and on all day long, whenever I remember. Okay? But when it was really hurting, I went outside. I put on my dad's old, I don't know, we call it a farm jacket, I guess. It's a blue jean jacket, a big blue jean jacket. My dad died in '07. I kept his jacket. It's worn out. It was worn out when I got it. But in the pocket, it has 2 pockets. In the pocket, there was a handful of 4-inch screws and nails that my dad put in that pocket. When I went outside with that jacket on, I reached in and, oh, Dad, I miss you. And here you are. And that was my resource. And I've leaned on that resource. And I even, just now, just remembering it, that's very real for me. This can work for you. You need to practice. We cultivate those things which are life-affirming, and then we use them when we need to. I will say that I Personally, anger is often justified. And there's people who believe that righteous anger is good. And I don't believe that. Anger is justified, but it's just going to have negative consequences. There's always some kind of negative consequences when anger is expressed. I don't think Jack Bergman is the Buddha. I don't think he will accept your anger the way the Buddha would accept your anger. What are the negative consequences of our anger? Often they are completely unintended and unknowable until they happen. Of course I'm angry. Of course I'm angry. If I can use the energy of anger after I've let go of the story, what kind of energy is it? If I change the label from an angry energy to a volatile energy, now what am I going to do with volatile energy? Maybe I need to be away from people. Maybe I need to take a run. I don't know, something. What if it's a frenetic energy? What am I going to do with that? What is it? This is the deep looking. This is the caring, the trying to understand. We can use energy, but we can use it in a useful way, in my opinion, only when we let go of the anger, when we let go of the story of anger, when we just use the energy. And maybe the best thing is to actually arrive at calm and then take steps. Thich Nhat Hanh says, when we look deeply, then we have clarity. We have an understanding. What is the best action now? But we don't have that clear understanding when we're angry. So for my last thing, I'm just going to put in a plug for Neil Young. If you understand or enjoy poetry or, lost the word, starts with an M, but anyway, poetry, we'll go with that. Metaphor, poetry and metaphor. If you don't bother. But this is my favorite album by Neil Young. It's called Chrome Dreams 2. There is no Chrome Dreams 1, which I think is a lovely joke. And there's a 18-minute song in here. It's called Ordinary People or Everyday People, something like that. And in the middle of it, it talks about, it's hard to say where a man goes wrong. It might be here, it might be there. What starts out weak might get too strong if you can't tell foul from fair. But it's hard to judge from an angry throng of hands thrust up in the air. Ordinary people. The whole album is talking about we're all the same. There are no sides. We're all the same. And it's beautiful. And it's very spiritual as well, which I wouldn't have guessed from Neil Young, but there you are. Thanks for listening.